We're going to be talking about content cells on quotes. And to give you a bit more information about it, content cells are going to be very helpful for whenever you want to actually add blocks of information that can be filled out or pre-filled to help you gather information from a customer, or they can fill out when they receive a specific information or quote. Information about these or what you can do or accomplish, how you can accomplish this would be the content cells can be added from within a specific project. So if you're on a specific project and you're building a quote, you can add content cells right there. However, if there are some certain case scenarios where you would like to add these from your quote templates, so for whatever quote or document you're building on a specific or throughout different projects, these can be already there. So the end goal of this office hours today is that you should be able to better understand the use cases and for your specific business, what cases you'll be using these, right? For content cells, I need to clarify also that to add these, you would have to be on the browser mode or on your specific computer, right? These are not going to be available to be done within the mobile app today. For this case scenario, I'm going to go ahead and use a specific project to show you how to add these content cells and the different types of content cells that you can go about using. As well, let's see. These are somewhat almost the same as form fields, but our form fields are a page that you can create and add form fields there, but the content cells can be on top of certain information. Let's say, for example, it's going to be either a cover page, it can be either add-on or option page if you want to add like disclaimers, or text page, file page, or gallery pages as well. So with that being said, I'm going to click here. And Lily Mejia already had a new quote. I'm going to click on the pencil icon. I'm going to talk about this a bit. So in certain cases, scenarios, you can use adding content cells for gathering information from a homeowner whenever you're doing like an insurance claim or like pre-job sites information that you might want to go ahead and collect. So as we can see here, I already have a file. I'm going to use this one and you're going to have to click here where it says add content. So, and to start, you can see it gives you a preview of the information that I have based on this file. And I'm going to go ahead and click add content. And we'll have a different kind of information here, which let me talk to you about. So we have the label. So if you're adding a content cell, you can have a label on top of the information that you have below, but we're not going to use that for this case scenario. And then we have the type of cells, right? So you have single line, multi-line, drop-down text, signature, and image. So single line, if you want to go straight forward with the information you want to collect, and multi-line, if you're gathering a lot of information, you want to have that as well detailed, right? Drop down if you want to gather information based on a drop down the customer can select from a yes or no answer to make it easier for them. And content text is going to be in the scenario you want to add this content field on top of certain information, but the text is going to be static. It's not going to be modified by the customer, right? So with that being said, now we're going to go ahead and click. Well, we have signature, which you can add this content cell throughout different pages of your quotes. And it's going to be very helpful if you want to have the signature show up on different pages, right? You do need to have a signature page, which we can actually see here that I have. You need to have that because the customer still needs to sign off on the document and for these signature fields to appear in different pages that you may have. Also, let me go back here. We have content image if you want to add a specific logo of your business into certain pages of whenever you're working on, right? And then we have the cell width. You can select from the different width you would like to use. Frame color, white, black, or transparent. In this case, we're going to start using transparent to keep it clean, and also required or not. Like if it's set to required, the customer has to fill out the information before signing the quote, right, or the document. Prefill would be very useful for whenever you're going to use variables. You want to populate information and just make it easier for the customer not needing to type information down. And then you can also just leave a static pre-filled text, which is optional based on what you'd like to do. So with that being said, let me go about, we're going to start filling out certain of this information here. Let me just see. Let's see, what would we like to choose from? Let's say I would like to go about adding a content field for the customer's name, right? Which can be a prefill as well. So I'm going to say, I'm going to select a cell width of 25. I'm going to set transparent. Not going to be required, but I do want to have the contact first name populate automatically. And then we just need to drag this where we want it to sit so we can see that Lily information is populating there. Also, I want to have, let's say, today's information, right? Today's date. Let me see, where would this variable be? Current day formal. Okay. We're going to say transparent. And then today, Tuesday, right? So I want to set this up over here. And if we think about it, we want the customer to fill out the insurance information, right? So let me go ahead about selecting transparent. I'm going to make it a single line and not going to pre-fill it in this case. I'm going to have the insurance company's name, right? Cool. And so what we can continue to go about adding additional information that is needed or content cells, right? Just want to fill out some of these. I'm going to say for this one, it says pet some property. Going to add a content cell and I'm going to still say transparent, but I want it to be a drop down. And this is where we're going to be selecting, yes, and no options. Okay. And then we're going to add a content and also, let's see. This one is going to be a multi-line and I'm going to make it the width a bit larger. Let me go about doing 50. All right. Wait, let me see. I left it in, I'm going to change it to transparent. All right. So I can just leave that information right here for the customer to go about filling out that information. Add a content. We're going to go for the signature now. Let's see, signature. And it also gives you this information here, right? So it says when the customer fills or signs the document, it's going to show the signature in the specific space where you're going to add this content field. So I'm going to go about there. Automatically want this to show up here. All right. So we're back. All right. So we can see the information. Well, it's going to conjure for a bit. We can see the information pre-fill, even though it says, the homeowner's name. She can always go about fixing it up. Like the customer can go about changing anything, even though it's pre-filled. But what we're doing here is, making it easier for the homeowner to just have the information populate, right? So if I just said insurance company name, let's say Allstate, for an example. And this is where the customer can also go about, typing information. Additional note for the crew before they, come in. And this is where to choose option. So I can say yes, no. And I can start typing whatever information just for the gist of it. So let me just copy that and see how the information go downwards for being a multi-line. I'm going to go back because I want to add at least right here where the customer can sign or just either type an X or to say the scope of work, right? So let me go back. Click the pencil icon here. Add content. I'm going to say the width is going to be 6. And we're going to go about, we're going to leave this as, and I'm going to change this to transparent. I'll have that information here. There you go. I'm gonna add another one just to show. And drag and drop. There you go. All right. You can always go back to the gear icon when you added a cell, and you can go about modifying it if you see the need to, right? As you can see, I just changed the width from 6 to 8, but I'm going to put it back to 6. All right. And I'm going to go about closing this, and we can see customers just going to say, okay, this is going to be roof repair for full roof replacement, depending, whatever information you want the customer to check the box off on. And one thing I did miss that I would like to change would be go back to add content. And I'm just going to say, let me see this. I'm going to say this is set to require. Close this. Go back to the document. All right. And I'm just going to click, I'm going to have no information there. I'm going to click sign now. And we can see by having the field as required, it's saying we need to input information in this field, right? So that's what the customer would see that they have to do when filling out this document. And I'm going to click sign now. And we can see that now it gives you the ability to sign the document. So I'm going to click continue. No other information. Let's say, I'm going to say that I was Lily filling out this document. Agree to any terms that are here. Signing accept. And I want to show you guys like how does the signature content cell appears automatically where we left the field. Okay, so this is the information that was filled out. Additional information, as we can see the signature appearing automatically here, right? And that's the signature here as well. So if we had like a 5-6 page document where we would like to see the signature of the customer populate, we would add the content cell, have it added to those specific pages, and have it on the specific, content field information and have it populate like it's showing here. I'm gonna close this. So that is what you can go about accomplishing with our content cells and your quotes. Again, well, the use cases can be any insurance document that you're working or trying to, collect information based from your homeowner or customer, and also any information for the job site or any digital information you would like to collect, right? So just a heads up, if you're going to be adding content cells, to cover pages, those will only be available on the project, not from the quote template. So that's something I would like to clarify there. And again, you can add those from within either add-on or option page for any disclaimers you would like to add to those specific pages. Any on the gallery page, you would like to add additional information to showcase, as well files and text, right? That's it for today, guys. If you do not have any questions, well, hope everybody has a good one, and we'll be looking for you out on next week's office hours.